Scientific study of Rig Veda, class 4. We are going through the terms used in any Veda, especially in Rig Veda, which are essential to be understood, the meaning behind it. Then only we can go through Rig Veda. The first word we analyzed is Mandal, then Rishis. Today we are going to see another term that is used in Rig Veda along with the Sooktha. So let us go through one Sooktha and find out what is the next term used.
RIGVEDam, Mandal-1, Ashtagam-1, Anuvak-1, Adhyayam-1, Sooktha-1. Rishi Madhu Chandas, Devatha Agni, Chandas Gayatri.
Here the next term is Devatha. Devatha means God. But in place of God there are a number of terms. So these are to be distinguished. Then only we can go through Rig Veda. Those terms are, one is super being, the another one is Ishwar, the third one is Devatha or God. So the first one is Brahman, super being. Before creation there was only one thing that is in the universe, that is Brahman or super being. It possesses no qualities. It has no desires, no shape. It is invisible, that is neutral in character. It has no type of desires, no smell, taste or anything like that. It is impossible to imagine such a thing. It is impossible to understand such a Sun person, what it is. Such an invisible, without we cannot call it force because it is neutral. It is not involving in any activity. But it is there in this universe. Its size may be infinity, or it will take the form of very small. We can't imagine. Maybe very small, the lowest or the highest like that, but no desire at all. So that is, from that creation started. Actually from this a force came out. That force has a tendency to create a universe. So it has a desire. So at that time we cannot call it Brahman because it has some desire to create this universe. At that time we may call it another name, that is Ishwar. That is Ishwar as per Sanskrit. We cannot call it God also. But in English language there is one in English language they are using for Ishwar as God. That has a desire to create this universe. In his English language, they are considering this as God. But there is another problem. If it is God, by which we will call Deva in the Vedas. So as per Veda, Brahman is neutral, no desire, That is the initial thing that was there in the universe before creation. So from there come out, naturally from there itself, a force come out with a desire to create this universe. That force is called the Ishwar. In English language, it may be, we can treat it as God. God-1, we can say. Super God. We can call it as Super God. But that is the other. First one is super being. Brahman is super being without any qualities. From there, this creation started. Then comes the thing with some desire to create God, they create this universe. That is called Ishwar, or we may call it a super God. And based on his desire, he prepare a plan to create this universe. That plan is called the Paramatma. So thereafter, everything will go as per this plan. Nobody can influence that plan. So there is no meaning in praying to change that plan. That is impossible. Everything will happen as per the plan. So that Ishwar or super God has a desire to create a beautiful world based on which he created a plan, that is Paramatma, and based on that plan, all the things that is taking place in this universe is based on that plan, and it is proceeding to create a beautiful world. The progress is step by step, and it is well written in the plan. We cannot involve, or all the things starting from that super God cannot thereafter influence the creation process. For example, our great person Ambedkar created the law. Thereafter, he also comes under the law. He cannot influence it. Ambedkar created this law, but thereafter creating this law, he cannot. After that, he cannot involve in. He cannot influence it. Things will go as per that law, and he is also bound to obey that law. Likewise, that super God produced a plan based on which every creation process is taking place, and he cannot involve in it in any way. There ends his role. Thereafter, everything goes as per that plan, that is Paramatma. So, first is super being, that is Brahman. Then comes that super Lord or Parameshwar. We can call it as Parameshwar or Purush as per Veda. English we may call it as super God. And he created that plan. Thereafter, he will not influence in any take part in any of the activity, because everything will go as per that schedule or program or a plan. So everything will follow automatically, and nobody can influence it. So that is the second term. Thereafter, start the creation process, and produces a number of things in this universe. These are called God, Devata. There are 33 crores of such gods in this universe. So what all things there are produced, that are gods or Devatas, like water, stone, mud, chemical force, all type of forces. There are a number of visible and invisible forces, gravitational force, everything like that. There are love, hatred, etc. That feelings. Everything is God. Not all things there are in the universe, they are created by, as per this plan. They are called God or Devatas. What is the property of this Devata? With the use of these Devatas, this universe is going to create. So Devatas are those things, whether it is invisible or visible, they are the inputs required for the production of this universe. For production of this universe, mud is required, mud is Devata. Water is required, water is Devata. We also are Devata because they produce us to do some work. Attractive force is Devata. Repulsive force is Devata. Everything is Devata. But at the same time, everything are created in duals. So, because as per Newton's third law, if there is any action, immediately there is a reaction also, which hindrances production. So, what all things that supports creative activity is called Devata, and what all things that opposes it as per Newton's third law, or as per Veda, Sattva Guna, and opposite is Rajo Guna, which opposes the creation. Everything is dual. This is required. Without this two, the universe will not form. So, what all things which opposes it, it is called the Asura or demons. So, all the things and invisible and visible forces in this universe are God, and at the same time there is anti-God also, that is demon. And one thing become anti-God when it opposes creation, and when one supports it, it become God. So in every action, if we are doing anything, there is an opposition. So which supports it, that is God, which opposes that is Tamoguna or reaction or Asura or demon. So all the things can be classified into two, whether it is visible or invisible. There are 33 crores of such things. What are things that we see here? Everything is required for this universe. So they are God. But sometimes this will become demon also. For example, Agni will help to burn something. So we want to burn something, Agni is God. But this Agni can create problem to us. It may burn our body sometime. Then it will become demon Asura, because it is acting against us. sugar is God because we will get the energy from it. But if we are a diabetic person, that sugar will become enemy. Then it is demon. So all the things in this universe are God because based on this universe is created. But at the time of creation of certain things, some things will act support it. That is God, Devata, and other things which opposes it. That is called the demon or asura. So each thing can act as demon or God, depending on where it is going to use. So, in Veda, Devata means they are going to explain the characteristic of these things. How it, what is the quality of those things? How it can be used in science, in our daily activities likewise. So, sometimes they may be talking about energy. Then in Veda, energy is Devata. That means they are talking about energy. Sometimes they are talking about, they are giving the properties of water. Then they say they will give Devata as water and so on. There are 33 crores things in this universe, and taking some, and they are going to explain in through these Vedas. Then at that time they will tell, they will use the word Devata for representing that substance. For example, if they are trying to give the importance of orange, then they will write Devata is orange and so on. So that is Devata. Devata means on what subject they are going to talk through these Sookthas. That is Devata. Anything can, they can write about any subjects, anything in this universe, whether it is visible or any invisible, living or non-living thing. Everything, even marriage function itself can, if they are talking about marriage function, they will say Devata is marriage. Likewise. So, the next word is, first is Mandal, then is Rishi. Then they are going to teach us something about a certain things. Then they will say that, they will write Devata as that subject, which they are going to explain through these Sookthas. So that is Devata. So now we have seen three things: Mandal, Rishi and Devata. And Devata is not any person like a super being or anything like that. In this story, they may present these things as characters. Here, Devata may be water. That means they are talking about water. But in the story, characters are required. They will then present this water as character Devata, that character water Devata. So in the character form, they will present it in the form of a lady, with a white dress and like that. Water Devata. Don't treat it as an Ishwar or super being or spiritual. That thing is neutral. That the starting point of creation, Brahman, is neutral. And the next stage is super God. That is super being. The next stage is super God with a sarvama interest to create a desire to create a beautiful universe, and based on it, it created a plan, and thereafter it will become ideal. Everything will go as per plan. All the things that follows is Devathas, and it may, since everything is created in dual, there are two things, Devata, and all the things may be classified into two, Devata and Daman, Asura, God or Daman. That is God or Daman, Devata or Asura. Any subject can become any subject, because, for example, stone can become Devata. We are using stone to create building because it is supporting us. When it is supporting us or supporting the creation of universe, then they may be called as Devata. When it is opposing, that stone will become Asura or Daman. If somebody is throwing stone at us, it will become Asura because it may hurt us. So depending on the function, whether it is supporting, then it can be called as Devata. Whether it is opposing, it can be termed as Daman. Whether it is supporting, it is called Devata or God. And whether it is opposing the function, creative activity, then it is called Daman or Asura. So in Veda, everything is represented as Devata because this universe is created by using all these things. So all the things are Devata as per Veda. But at the same time, at definite points of creation, it may either become God, Devata or Asura, Daman. So Veda is going to explain the use of these materials for our development works. So in Veda, what all things they are saying, they are Devata or God, because they are helping us in our creation process of this universe. Because we are, they created us this for as per plan. We are created for doing some works, and we are using these substances for these works. So these substances are going to help us. So these are gods. So they are presented as gods in this Vedic science or science book. Actually, this is a 10% science book. It contains all the science behind this universe. So we have gone through three. One is Mandal, the other one is Rishi, the third term is Devata. Now let us go through the last term, that is Chantas, which may be attached with all the Sooktha's. That we can see in the next class.